Great. And how many of us are aspiring restaurant owners in the room doing some sort of research, trying to understand what is this all about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so for the second ones who are aspiring restaurant owners, I'm not sure किसने आपको ये idea दिया है. But please उससे दोस्ती तोड़ दो, because I'll give you a quick short story. I got into the business of restaurant technology not by choice but by chance. I was a happy man, I was running a telecom company, and one day a coffee table conversation with a friend who was always interested in figuring out ये McDonald's वाले कितना कमा रहे हैं, KFC वाले कितना कमा रहे हैं, उसको लग रहा था सारा पैसा उसी का जा रहा है market में, and he used to bring back every day new prospectus, new things कि इसकी franchisee में इतना पैसा लग रहा है, इतना rate of return and this and that, and मुझे फालतू ज्ञान देने की बहुत आदत थी. तो एक दिन मैंने उसे बैठ के समझाया कि यार तू अपना रेस्टोरेंट, तू why are you taking some franchise, right? What will you learn out of this? You should, open your own brand, you should open your own restaurant. क्या होगा, ज़्यादा डूब जाएगा, तू उसमें से कुछ सीख के निकलेगा, मैकडॉनल्ड्स वाले तुझे क्या सीखने देंगे, blah, 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 blah. And he bit the bullet and he took the advice. And at the end of it, he said, that's a good idea. I would like to open my own. Would you invest? Would you like to be a part of it? So, आप अपनी रिस्पेक्ट तो करोगे, आप अपनी ही एडवाइस कैसे इग्नोर कर सकते हो? So I said sure, why not? And that's when I fell into the trap of restaurants. And I think my experience of running restaurant was so horrible because I was running a side business. For me, restaurant was a side business. For me, restaurant was a business जहाँ पे कोई और बना रहा है, कोई और खा रहा है, owner कभी भी restaurant पे दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है, वो शायद सिर्फ नोट छाप रहा है. Mom ने सिखाया था कि ये जो दाल तुम 300 रुपए की खाते हुए 30 रुपए की आती है. So calculation was going very, very strong. Somebody was saying that how many of you think restaurant is a more than 50% margin business? So I actually used to think it's a 200, 300% margin business. Anyway, long story short, what happened is that we ended up opening a restaurant, we ended up running it, and we realized how tough the business is. So salute to all the people in the audience who are right now running the restaurant, and best of luck to all the ones who are still researching. Hope you will not do the same thing as I did. You're not going to run restaurant as a side business. It's very, very much a full-time business. What I want to talk about today are four quick points, and I quickly jotted down some of them. I was in Mexico City last week, and I went there and I asked them how many restaurants Mexico City must be having. And what is the population? And I'll give you a quick math. Delhi has a population of 18 million, 16 million, people, and NCR included. And I think restaurants we have is somewhere around 12 to 16,000. 16,000. I'm counting all the smallest possible ones, in this. So I have a certain mental math that for a certain amount of public in a city, there is a certain amount of restaurants, required to serve them. And Mexico City just boggled my mind. It was a population of less than 14 million and 46,000 restaurants. So I just couldn't understand how does that work, right? 46,000 restaurants at a population of 14 million, that was almost 3 times the number of restaurants in Delhi per person. And when I looked at the trend, what's happening over the 10 days, I realized that people were not going to these restaurants on occasions. They were not going to these restaurants on events. For them, eating out was not really a thing to do, on a certain day. It was very clearly a casual thing. They were probably not cooking at home at all, and they were going to these restaurants just to have their meal, just to have lunch, breakfast, dinner in a normal day. In fact, when I further interacted with people in the public, and I realized that whenever somebody in Mexico says that they are cooking food at home, they receive a different reaction. अगर आज दिल्ली में हम में से कोई रोज बाहर खा रहा होगा तो लोग बोलेंगे कि क्या हो गया भाई, कौन सी लॉटरी लगी है, क्या हो क्या गया है, घर में बीवी खाना नहीं दे रही है या कुछ और प्रॉब्लम है. But I think in Mexico it was reverse. If somebody was saying that, if somebody was actually cooking at home, people were asking them कि पैसे बचा रहे हो क्या? And because the trend was that they are not cooking at home, they find it very easy to get food outside. What I'm trying to tell you is, I think that more and more such stories have been telling me that we are much behind in the curve, or maybe on a very optimistic note, I think there is a long, long, long way to go. For the restaurant business, I think that's extremely encouraging, because when I think about these things happening, to India, I feel really happy, because I think that we probably are still at the start of the curve before it hits, some exponential state. Uh, There are 4 things which, I realize that, any restaurant owner is looking at. One is definitely the food when you open your business. Second is your location. In most times, I'm not talking in specifically the same order. Third is your operations, which is your service, how the restaurant runs. And fourth is the customer. Sameer, Piyush, in the last session, I think, you guys had a lot of chat about customer retention, database building, marketing to the customer, discounts, etc. I'll take a step back from there, and I'll probably, go about service and operations. I think one of the 3 things, I'll quickly tell you 3 stories, where I've seen the biggest hole in the restaurant business. The number 1 hole in the restaurant business, which I particularly have seen, is the theft and pilferage. It's a very underrated concept when we talk about, when we think about restaurants. A lot of people come to me for advice on what to open. They will eat my head on location, food, quality, cuisine, chef kidhar se laun, waiter kidhar se milega, etc., etc. Nobody talks about theft kaise save hoga, pilferage kaise rukegi. I am not going to sit at the restaurant. I want to open a chain. How does this work that, that owners are not sitting at their restaurants or are not present full time, but still you can do something about it. So I'll quickly give you some inputs on, what theft, can do to your restaurant. Restaurant is a very high margin business, as some of you imagine. And I can tell you, it genuinely is a high margin business. The biggest 2 holes in the restaurant business I have seen, which if not plugged, makes it extremely low margin. One is wastage and pilferage in your raw material. Second is genuinely, theft, which happens, unfortunately, at the hands of your staff. And when I talk to restaurant owners about it, mostly people, will give me answers which are very disheartening. And I do agree with them in a way. They are helpless also to a certain extent. They generally tell me, my manager takes care of it. And with due respect to all the managers or people who might have been managers before, I'm not saying that they are thieves. But unfortunately, we are banking on somebody who, might be incapable of, probably doing it. How many of us actually resonate with this thought? Can I quickly see a show of hands? How many of us actually, yeah, thank you. So we do resonate with that fact. And I think in our own restaurant, we realized it, very, very quickly and very early on that the margins which are being told to us by other people, by other restaurant owners, margins were still there. We were still incurring the same cost in, making our food or the items, etc. But the money which was flowing in was not really proportionate. We started developing a quick module on anti-theft, and we started talking about, how to pick up theft at the transaction level. And the way it changed things really surprised us, even though we were building it. We were talking about catching theft at the transaction level, wherein you and me go to a restaurant, we sit there for 1.5 hours. Over the course of that 1.5 hours, we keep ordering stuff, and at the end of it, we pay the cash and we go off. Now this guy goes back to the system, edits one item, let's say a beer, pockets $300, settles the rest of the bill for 3,000. Nobody is able to catch this theft, because at the end of the month, probably aap auditing karenge, probably some food controller will come. He will say 1,000 pints issue kiye the, 9.5 pints hain, 950 pints sell hue hain, where are the 50? And every waiter will say, mujhe kya pata? And the guy will be helpless. He'll probably do some calculation, deduct it from service charge. Maybe different people have different ways, and life moves on. I actually have seen large brands factoring 5% of their entire volume to theft and pilferage, and they have factored it in their P&L so that it doesn't bother them anymore. That needs to stop. So we kind of built a detection system which was like your banking system. The way suddenly one day when you make a credit card transaction for a very high volume, you receive a call from the bank, right? Which says, hey, hi, did you just purchase this TV for $1 lakh? And you say yes, and they just you keep the phone, right? Because something in their system flags that this man has been using this card for maybe just getting fuel every day, and for the first time इसने 1 लाख रुपए का transaction किया है, probably this can be a theft. May or may not be, but probably. So we need to check. And what we realized is that I think over the years, we have adjusted restaurant staff's salary in such a way that they have also understood that we need to do something else to make money. We also have understood that they are anyway going to do something to make this money. So might as well, keep the salary low. And what we have seen is that whenever any staff member was prompted for each transaction, they either stopped doing it or they stopped doing the job. So some of our customer results have been implementing our system. First month, out of 40 waiters, 22 left. So when we had a chat with owners asking, kya hua, what do you think happened? So people gave us answers in mixed feelings saying कि अच्छा ही लग रहा है, but बचे हुए 22 सब किधर से आएंगे, ये genuine question है, but ठीक ही है, we'll adjust it in some way. And the incoming staff was already informed that let's not do this. I cannot tell you that theft can be curbed completely 100%, but maybe the quest is to bring it down to, let's say, 1 or 2%, because if it's happening in convolution with the entire staff, you can't stop that. Second is a very underrated question is the time of service, the turnaround time in the service. Again, out of 100 people who come to me for advice, I actually don't see this 100% time somebody asking me that, hey, how do I improve the speed of service? Or will speed of service have any impact on my sales? And I can tell you that I have seen some of the results which were phenomenal. I have seen 300 square feet. I can't really see that. You don't need to be discreet. Yeah, sure. I have seen 300 square feet restaurants really churning out more business than 1,200 square feet restaurants. And when I went there, I realized that the speed with which they take the order as soon as the customer sits down to the point they bring the food, on the table, it's phenomenally, it's amazing. And what we realized after, looking at their data continuously is that actually, if the time between taking the order to bringing the food on table, if it's conserved in the right way, a customer cannot spend more than 20 minutes at your table. So in case you have only 10 tables, it is your duty to see that between that 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., 2 घंटे के slot में आप उन tables को कितनी बार churn कर सकते हो? Can you do it 4 times? Can you do it 2 times? Can you do it 3 times? And it will have a great impact on exactly, what's your sales are going to be like. So again, for the service, what we realized is that there is a lack of data, there's a lack of understanding on, what can 5 minutes saved on each table multiplied by 10 tables can actually save 20 minutes of time for you. And this is something which when you see in action, you realize that, hey, you really actually don't need a 1,000 square feet or a 2,000 square feet restaurant. You actually can do much, much better with 500 square feet restaurant. So I think we can go on and on about it, but I will leave you with these 2 thoughts, that theft, pilferage, quality of and timing of service is something which can bring a lot of change in your top line as well as bottom line of the restaurant. The salesman in me, will not be able to forgive myself if I don't talk about PoSist, for a minute. So I'll quickly take that last 1 minute. We are a technology company. We are completely focused on restaurant tech. We serve all aspects of a restaurant operation, from billing to inventory to kitchen to CRM to analytics to accounting, whatever you can think of, from mobile ordering to online ordering. Serving some 3,500 plus restaurants across 90 Indian cities as well as 5 plus countries. And I think in this journey we have, we started with our own restaurant. That's why we were able to make certain good decisions for the restaurant owner. But in this journey, looking at their data, I think we have been able to understand restaurant owners a little better. Any questions right now, we'll open it for the questions quick. Also, me and our team is around. Anything which was, in case it provokes any thought in you, happy to chat offline. Thank you. So we are opening for Q&A. Any one of you, any question, happy to answer.
Hi, I'm Svetna. I have a restaurant in Gurgaon and I use PoSist as well as Line Tray. So, nowadays there's a lot of competition when it comes to people like you in the market.
Sure.
And every day I'm chased by people like representatives from Magic Pin, nearby. Sometimes I've not even heard about them, but they keep calling, messaging to ask me if I want to be on board. It gets very difficult after a while to, okay, objectively they present their data and I, after a point, lose my patience. I don't know how much is the data reliable, and I cannot be on board everywhere because a lot of my, a 10% chunk goes to Zomato, another 10% is taken by, say, Magic Pin or Food Panda or whoever.
Yep.
So it gets very difficult at the end of the day for me to, as a restaurant owner, to decide how many, on how many platforms to be present and how to take that decision.
Yes, yes.
So could you help me there?
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Svetna.
Svetna. Thanks, Svetna. I think excellent question, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with a lot of people. So I think let me take off my PoSist shoes and just talk to you as a restaurant owner. I think number one, lot of competition and lot of technology people like us chasing restaurant owners is actually a good thing. It's actually a good sign because as I said, we are very underpenetrated as a market when it comes to use of technology. And I'm not talking about using a computer for billing. Unfortunately, technology kind of ends there for some of the restaurants. Or it's not only about being present on Nearby or Zomato or just distributing coupons. I think what I will probably tell you is, especially the last bit when you said that I cannot be, you lose patience at times and you cannot be present on every platform. My point will be, why not? That's one. So I would like you to assume this for a second. Why not? Why not be present on every platform, whichever is right for you? So every restaurant has an objective. For example, I can tell you, I'll not name the brand, but once I was sitting with a very, very good brand, a top known brand in Delhi and India. I was sitting with this restaurant owner in his restaurant, and Navratre chal rahe the, and the restaurant was empty, right? So I was feeling a little, uncomfortable sitting with him in his restaurant, and it was like 8:30 p.m. Restaurant should have been full by now, but it was all empty. And he communicated, he said something. He said, "Yaar, मैं Groupon पे Nearby पे ऐड करना चाहता हूँ, या मैं इस समय right now it's a low time, I can actually give 50% off to people. But my only worry is कि अगर मैंने एक बार ये coupon चला दिया, तो market के अंदर मेरा नाम खराब हो जाएगा. People will also say कि आजकल क्या हुआ, धंधा चल नहीं रहा है क्या, 50% off देना शुरू हो गए, etc. etc. And he was really worried about that मैं उस वाले platform को कैसे use करूँ. So my only point is that I think no platform is meant for every restaurant, as well as no platform is bad. I think it's about the time when you want to use it. It's also about your objective. So let's say if your objective is to bring customers back again and again, you should sign up for loyalty programs, which can actually make you, do that. If your agenda is to get new customers every time, more than your repeat customers, you should look for Nearby, Zomato, wherein the discovery happens. And I think based on the season, based on the time of the year, based on your time of the P&L, I think you can keep on shifting, these platforms, switching on and off. So I think it's a combination. I will genuinely say that as restaurant owners, I think whenever some technology company, bothers you, call them, take a demo, know what is it, they're offering, because I'm sure out there in the market, everybody today is trying to hit at one pain point for each restaurant owner. Might not be relevant to all, but it can be good. It can be beneficial. Anyone for the question?
Yeah, we have one
there. How are you, Ashish?
Hey.
Remember me?
Yes.
Nitin, how are you? We just signed it, two days ago, so I don't have to mention my name. It's just probably my question would be good for each and everybody here. I could have questioned you later on as well, but
sure.
See, my face was the same as yours. 3 years ago, I open up a restaurant. I thought maybe it's a very high margin business, and we ended up obviously, you ended the same way. So we are into like catering business now. We are actually getting into the chain of the beverage and the ice cream parlor. So my question is that the same thing I faced in relation to the theft and the pilferage. What I realized whenever I go to the the Cafe Coffee Day or Costa
Yes.
to buy a coffee, and it's always a written thing there. If you don't get a copy of a bill,
Yeah, your order is free.
It's all free, yeah.
Yeah,
So, but I personally, whenever I went there, probably out of 10, I would have asked for the receipt one or twice, And I'm hurrying up. I just take away the coffee. I just ran to my car. I just sit there and just drove.
Correct.
So, how can we do it better way? I mean, because I think that a lot of people are not involved in asking for the receipts. So, again, obviously,
I think what you're hitting is a very important point. I'll quickly tell you, what happened, and I think I'll tell you, when we built this anti-theft module, this was like last year, and my team is here. I'll tell you that we were presented with a very sensitive question. A lot of our salespeople said that it's very tough to broach the subject of theft in the first meeting with a restaurant owner. Two reasons. One, there is a manager or there is a cashier or whoever we are talking about is already sitting in the meeting beside us. How do we come onto this topic? Second is that at times restaurant owners were also, people feared offending them because they came back with replies like, मेरे आदमी बहुत loyal है, मेरे यहाँ सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है, मेरे यहाँ first class है. And my team will come back and tell me कि सबसे ज़्यादा उसी के यहाँ गड़बड़ होती है जो ऐसा कह रहा होता है, because that means he's not looking at it. So we started thinking, that how to get this out of our way. So we wrote a comic book called the Thug Tales of Restaurantpur. It's a comic book which actually talks about 10 beautiful ways in which staff commits thefts, which restaurant owners are not really able to judge. What I'm telling you is that when we were actually talking about how to promote this comic, how to give it to the restaurant owners in the right way, one of the things which came to our mind was this, that in all the thefts, in 60-70% of them, we realized that it was customers like us who were not asking for receipts, and that was giving birth to a lot of opportunity for these guys to do something. And we thought about running a campaign which said that let's save our beloved restaurant owners from bleeding. Let's take an oath that we'll ask for receipt every time. So I think I don't know what is the better way of doing it, but I think I love beer. I should quote Beer Cafe here. They do it in a very, very right way. Every Beer Cafe receipt has a QR code which has an incentive program, which has a loyalty program. And that kind of makes people ask for that particular receipt, because otherwise they will not get loyalty points unless they scan that receipt. I'm not too sure to what extent it works in Beer Cafe. Probably it works because there is a repeat audience in a certain hub. But I think we should. I completely agree with you that we should have more positive reinforcement to educate people on asking for receipts. Not really a right answer right now, but would love to discuss this offline. Yeah, sure. There are different ways. As I said, there are ways like what Beer Cafe does. There are ways wherein you can start a loyalty program wherein people are forced to give their mobile numbers anyway, and that kind of gets connected to the generation of receipt. So that can be a great way, but not a foolproof or answer. I think audience, restaurant owners in the audience, if you guys have any better ideas, we are offline available. Would like to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Yes, thank you. So everybody, as the time is ticking, we would love to to move towards the next one. For this, would like to request Ms. Pratima Bhardwaj to kindly give the momentum to. Thank you, sir. Thank you. What I feel is he deserves a great round of applause. Can we have a huge people? Thank you.